Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's great to have you here again. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and thought-provoking topic, desire and its impact on our lives. Throughout history, great philosophers like Marcus Aurelius have warned us about the power of unchecked desires. But what do these lessons really mean? And how can they help us live wiser, more fulfilling lives? In this video, we'll explore 7 powerful stories about desire. Stories that reveal its dangers, its illusions, and the wisdom of self-control. Each one carries a timeless lesson that can help us navigate the temptations of life with clarity and strength. So, get comfortable, stay tuned, and let's begin. One sexual pleasure should not distract from virtue. In a quiet Roman monastery, there lived a wise scholar named Darius. He was known for his deep knowledge, discipline, and unwavering commitment to virtue. Many young men came to him for guidance, eager to learn the ways of philosophy and self-mastery. One day, a young student named Felix approached Darius with a troubled heart. "Master," he said, "I understand the importance of virtue, but I find myself easily drawn to pleasure, especially the pleasures of the flesh. How can I resist something that feels so natural?" Darius picked up a candle and lit it. The flame flickered gently, casting a warm glow across the room. "This flame," he said, "represents passion and pleasure. It is not evil. In fact, it provides warmth and light. But what happens if I bring it too close to my parchment scrolls?" Felix watched as Darius moved the candle closer to a stack of scrolls. The heat began to blacken the edges. "It burns them," Felix said. Darius nodded. "And what if I hold it recklessly near my robe?" Felix's eyes widened. "It could set you on fire." Darius smiled. "Exactly. Pleasure, like fire, has its place. It can warm the soul, but if not controlled, it can consume and destroy. Many great men have lost their way, not because pleasure is evil, but because they let it distract them from wisdom, duty, and virtue." Felix lowered his head, understanding for the first time that pleasure is not meant to be rejected, but mastered. The story teaches us that pleasure, including sexual pleasure, is not inherently bad, but when it becomes a distraction from virtue, wisdom, and purpose, it can lead to destruction. True strength lies in self-control and knowing when to let pleasure serve you, rather than allowing it to rule over you. The mind is stronger than the body. There was a young warrior named Leon. He was strong, fast, and skilled with a sword, but he had one great weakness. He feared pain. In battle, even the thought of being wounded made him hesitate. He trained harder, building his muscles, but his fear remained. One day, an old philosopher named Theon visited the training grounds. He watched Leon spar and noticed his hesitation. After the match, he approached him. "You are strong, Leon, but you let your body rule your mind. True strength comes not from muscles, but from within." Leon frowned. "How can my mind be stronger than my body? If I am wounded, I feel pain. If I am tired, I grow weak." Theon picked up a burning coal with metal tongs and held it close to Leon's arm. "Do you see this?" Theon asked. "Your body reacts. It wants to flinch, to run. But if your mind is strong, you can choose not to move." Leon, breathing deeply, forced himself to stay still. His mind battled the fear of pain. Theon smiled and removed the coal. "You see," he said, "pain is real, but your response is a choice. The body may suffer, but the mind commands." From that day forward, Leon trained differently. He no longer feared pain, exhaustion, or hardship because he knew that his mind, not his body, was in control. This story teaches us that physical limitations and pain are real, but they do not define us. Strength is not just about muscles. It is about the power of the mind to endure, overcome, and remain in control, even in the face of difficulty. Those who master their mind master their life. 3. Control over desires leads to freedom. In a grand kingdom, there was a young prince named Adrian. He had wealth, power, and endless pleasures at his fingertips. Among his many desires, he was particularly captivated by a beautiful dancer named Selene. Her grace and charm consumed his thoughts, and soon he found himself unable to focus on anything else: his studies, his duties, even his own self-respect. One evening, he invited Celine to a private gathering, hoping to win her affection. But as he sat across from her, his heart pounding, she spoke first. "Prince Adrian, do you know why you desire me so much?" she asked. He hesitated. "Because you are beautiful, and I cannot resist you." She smiled. "But if you cannot resist me, then are you truly in control? Or am I controlling you?" Adrian was stunned. He had always believed he was powerful, yet here he was, a slave to his own desires. He realized that his obsession with Celine had made him weak. He had lost focus on his kingdom, his wisdom, and even his own dignity. That night, he reflected deeply. Was pleasure worth sacrificing his freedom? He decided that no desire, not even the strongest, should have the power to rule over him. Over time, he learned to control his impulses. He still admired beauty, but he no longer let it dictate his actions. And in mastering his desires, he discovered something far greater than pleasure: inner peace and true freedom. Desire, especially sexual desire, is natural, but if we do not control it, it controls us. True freedom comes when we master our impulses rather than becoming slaves to them. The strongest person is not the one who indulges in every pleasure, but the one who can walk away from it when necessary. 4. Desire is a temporary impulse. A wealthy merchant named Cassius set sail on a long journey to trade goods in distant lands. One evening, as a ship glided over calm waters, he spotted a beautiful island with golden beaches and lush forests. The sight filled him with longing. He wanted to abandon his journey and stay there forever. "Why should I continue my hard travels?" he thought. "This island offers everything I desire: peace, beauty, and comfort." As he stood at the edge of the ship, tempted to order his crew to dock, an old sailor placed a hand on his shoulder. "Look at the sky, my lord," the sailor said. Cassius looked up and noticed dark clouds forming on the horizon. "That island may seem like paradise now," the sailor continued, "but storms come and go. What you desire in this moment may soon change. If you abandon your journey for temporary pleasure, you may lose sight of what truly matters." Cassius hesitated, then stepped back. Hours later, a fierce storm struck the island, and he watched from his ship as the once beautiful paradise was battered by winds and waves. Had he followed his impulse, he would have been stranded in disaster. Instead, he stayed the course and reached his true destination, a place where lasting success and fulfillment awaited him. Desire is like the changing weather. It comes and goes. What seems irresistible in one moment may soon fade. Acting on impulse can lead us astray. But if we learn to pause, reflect, and stay focused on our true purpose, we will find greater rewards than fleeting pleasures. 5. See things as they truly are. In a great kingdom, there lived a young nobleman named Lucian. He was admired by many. His fine clothes, his charming words, and his wealth made him seem like the perfect man. But despite his outward success, he often felt empty. One day, an old philosopher visited the court. He observed Lucian and then handed him a mask, beautifully crafted with gold and jewels. "Wear this," the philosopher said, "and look in the mirror." Lucian put on the mask and admired himself. "I look even greater than before," he said. The philosopher then took the mask and held up a simple, unpolished mirror. "Now look at your true face." Lucian saw himself, without the fine clothes, without the polished image. He noticed the tiredness in his eyes, the doubts in his heart. "What do you see?" the philosopher asked. Lucian hesitated, then sighed. "I see a man who has spent his life trying to impress others, rather than understanding himself." The philosopher nodded. Wisdom begins when we stop seeing only what we wish to see and start seeing things as they truly are. From that day forward, Lucian no longer sought praise or illusion. Instead, he sought truth about himself, about others, and about life. We often see the world through illusions. Beauty, status, and desires cloud our judgment. But true wisdom comes when we strip away false appearances and see things clearly. Only then can we make choices based on truth, not deception. 6. Excessive pleasure leads to weakness. In a prosperous kingdom, there was a young king named Darius. He had inherited great wealth, power, and luxury. Unlike his ancestors, who had been wise and disciplined rulers, Darius believed that life was meant to be enjoyed without restraint. He indulged in feasts, drank the finest wines, and surrounded himself with pleasures of every kind. At first, his people admired him for his generosity and lively spirit. But as time passed, something changed. Darius grew lazy. He stopped attending council meetings, neglected military training, and spent his days in endless entertainment. His body became weak, his mind dull, and his will fragile. One day, an old general came to warn him. "My king, enemies are gathering at our borders. We must prepare for war." Darius, lounging on a silk couch, laughed. "Why should I trouble myself with war? My life is full of joy. Let them come." And so, the enemy came. When the attack began, Darius tried to lead his army, but he had grown too soft. His hands, once strong, could no longer hold a sword properly. His mind, once sharp, was clouded by years of indulgence. His people, seeing their weak king, lost faith. The kingdom fell, not because of external forces alone, but because its leader had weakened himself through excess pleasure. As Darius sat in the ruins of his palace, he finally understood. Pleasure is sweet, but too much of it steals a man's strength. Pleasure is not evil, but when it is indulged in without discipline, it weakens both the body and the mind. True strength comes not from seeking endless comfort, but from balancing pleasure with wisdom, discipline, and purpose. 7. Focus on what truly matters. In a bustling city, there was a merchant named Hector. He spent his days running his business, chasing wealth, and seeking admiration. He wanted the finest clothes, the grandest house, and the respect of everyone around him. One day, while traveling to expand his trade, he met an old fisherman sitting quietly by the sea. The fisherman was mending his net, humming a tune, and looking completely at peace. Curious, Hector asked, "Old man, why do you waste your time sitting here? If you worked harder, you could buy more boats, catch more fish, and become rich like me." The fisherman smiled. "And what would I do then?" "Then you could retire and enjoy your life in peace." The fisherman chuckled. "And what do you think I'm doing now?" Hector was silent. For years, he had been running toward a future he never stopped to question. He had wealth, but he had no peace. He had status, but he had no joy. The old fisherman, with nothing but his boat and the sea, had already found what Hector had spent his whole life chasing. That night, Hector sat by the shore, watching the waves. For the first time in years, he felt calm. He realized that he had been chasing things that did not truly matter, while ignoring what did: peace, simplicity, and contentment. We often spend our lives running after wealth, status, and possessions, believing they will bring happiness. But true fulfillment comes from focusing on what truly matters: inner peace, meaningful relationships, and a life lived with purpose. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope these 7 stories gave you some valuable insights into the nature of desire and the importance of self-control. Remember, true strength comes from mastering our impulses, not being ruled by them. If you enjoyed this video and found it thought-provoking, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Your support means a lot and helps us continue bringing you meaningful stories and insights. Also, let me know in the comments what lesson resonated with you the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.